Hey Pisces, welcome to your weekly forecast for May 2nd through the 8th. You might stumble upon this video a few weeks from now, a year from now. It's all good, my babies. You're going to hear it whenever you're meant to hear it. Keep in mind there was a new moon occurring April 30th, an eclipsed new moon. So that means that energy is going to be around us for a good 6 months. So the things coming up in this reading can be a reoccurring theme or a new chapter that you may be coming in to that may be lasting you the next 6 months. We're going to connect and see what messages are coming up for the Pisces collective. Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Keep in mind it is a general reading. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. One more shuffle. All right. Pisces, your cards shuffled nice and clear. So I like that for you. I think you guys have a clear head right now, a lot of you. We're going to move you just a little bit closer. And the first card that's coming up for our dear Pisces friends is you. It's the King of Cups. It's Pisces energy. It's water energy. So traditionally speaking, the court cards can be people, right? And I know, gosh, I know that a lot of tarot cards get typecast because people are so used to watching tarot for love and romance. And there's a few cards that people see it and they automatically assume it with like a stage of the romantic relationship. And so people see King of Cups and they think husband, baby daddy, you know. Don't get me wrong, that can be the case for some of you. Some of you may be manifesting that in the new moon energy. Some of you may be stepping into that energy where you want to, take that role, or you're thinking about being in that stage of your life. Some of you are like, nope, absolutely not. And some of you are like, been there, done that, don't want to do it again. So it kind of depends on where you are in your journey. If you're new to my channel, welcome. In the weekly forecasts, I try to focus on the cards outside of love and romance, and I try to make it about you and your journey and less about other people because I want to focus on you. I want it to be about you. And so the King of Cups can be you and the characteristics and the personality traits of the King of Cups. Okay? The King of Cups for me is someone who's very loving, very kind, successful, generous, but he also has a backbone. The King of Cups is nobody's fool, and he's not going to be taken advantage of. And so some of you Pisces, because Pisces, I love Pisces, right? I have very close friends who are Pisces. I've got lots of cousins who are Pisces. And so Pisces, you guys kind of just get a reputation of like being really peaceful and really peace loving and not rocking the boat, right? But some people take advantage of this, and some people feel like they can push you around or they can tell you what to do. And you guys had a reoccurring theme in your weekly forecasts over the past few months, a while back, where a lot of you were getting tired of that. And you were just in this energy of, what about me? What about what I want? What about what I need? Right? It can't always be about other people. And so the King of Cups for me is very generous and very kind, but also someone who's respected. And he's not going to help people or be generous to anyone who's being disrespectful to him. Okay? So I always think of King of Cups like the kind, generous, but fair parent, right? Maybe the teenager goes to the parent and says, oh, please, please let me have the car Friday night. I want to, go out on a date. I want to go out with my friends, whatever. And the parent says, okay, fine, you can have the car, but you've got that math test coming up this week. So you better study and you better get, above a C, something above a C. Show me a B, show me an A. Make sure that these chores are done around the house. Make sure that you have, enough gas in the car, and that you bring the car back to me nice and clean. I don't want to see any trash in it. I don't want to see it on an empty tank. I don't want to see scratches or dings. Like, you have to be responsible, like a parent who's like giving you giving you what you want, but there's also like expectation. And maybe, I don't know, some of you are like, oh, that's too harsh, but I'm just giving an example. Like, you can take the car, but you have to wash it, you have to keep it clean, you have to do these chores around the house, right? So there's an expectation. And I know that we talk a lot when we're on our spiritual gift about giving freely, giving without expectation, giving without expecting anything in return. And that is in the case to where, like, understanding that we can't control people, right? Like, if you have a massive crush on somebody, doing super nice things for them isn't going to automatically make them fall in love with you. Or you really want to be friends with somebody, or you want somebody to like you, so you're bending over backwards trying to, show what a great person you are. Those are situations when we talk about giving freely. Give without expectation, give without expecting anything in return. But when we're talking about our everyday interactions with people, that doesn't mean giving to the point where we allow people to take advantage of us, or to where we allow people to disrespect us. So sometimes I see King of Cups coming up because you're getting a balance of your generosity and your backbone, because maybe in the past you give to people and they take advantage and you get burned, and then you try to be more cautious and you're like, you know what, I'm not going to be taken advantage of this time, and then people accuse you of being selfish or greedy. So when I see the King of Cups, you're coming into that perfect kind of balance. King of Cups also has a sense of like worldliness, or like being cultured. And so some of you maybe are experiencing or exploring different cultures. Some of you might be learning or researching a culture, or feeling called to travel to a place that maybe you might have a past life connection to. And I feel some of you might be playing with language, or playing with like sounds and rhythms, and like word rhythms. And I don't know if this is something in connection to your work. Maybe some of you are wanting to expand business and do business with people in other countries. Maybe some of you are doing some, I'm seeing like Dungeons and Dragons. I love Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know if some of you are doing some kind of fantasy thing. Maybe you're writing a fantasy novel or something, and you're taking from different cultures to inspire you in creating these foreign worlds or foreign places in your imagination. Maybe it's something in terms of rhythm, like poetry or something for some of you. But for some reason, for some of you, I'm getting something with languages, like playing with language, playing with seriation, playing with rhythms and sounds. Maybe for some of you, it's awakening some past life stuff, or helping you to bring up some things from previous lifetimes. But I don't know why. If that resonates with you, or if there's something that ties into that, let me know in the comments, because I'm not too sure what that's about, but I'm getting that message for some of you. The next card that's coming up here for you all is the Emperor. Okay, and this could be Aries or Scorpio energy. Not surprising, Pisces, because if I'm not mistaken, you all showed up in either Aries or Scorpio. I know for sure you showed up in Taurus. Those of you watching your different placements, let me know. But if you have Scorpio or Aries placements, there could be really big shifts or really big changes happening for you in those houses or those areas of your life. This can also be dealing with a significant Scorpio or Aries that might be helping you get like a foundation in your life, or get structure in your life. The Emperor can be very much about structure, foundations, success. Emperor is also divine masculine energy. So if you see this, it's going from King of Cups to the Emperor. So it's going from King, like a nice established masculine energy, to like the ultimate masculine energy. The same way we refer to the Empress as the divine feminine, the Emperor is the divine masculine. So some of you may be stepping into your own divine masculine energy. Some of you may be calling in or manifesting a divine masculine under this new moon energy that we're coming into. The character traits of the Emperor is someone who's gone through the school of hard knocks. Okay, the Emperor is someone who has failed and fallen on his face, and he's gotten up every single time and brushed himself off and learned from the experience and come back better and come back stronger and used it to create success in his life. So some of you are coming into a time where you're creating success after maybe having several failures, but your failures were all a part of what it is that you're creating at this time. The Emperor can also be a father figure who has passed on, or guides or ancestors from your father's side of the family coming in through your dreams, bringing you messages, bringing you inspiration, bringing you guidance. Some of you may be having a dream where you're being asked to do something, or to take something, and Spirit is reminding me of my dad's dad, my grandfather, who was not a religious man in lifetime by any means. I mean, my grandpa was a party animal up until he died. He was a character, and he was a fun guy, and religion was the last thing on his mind. But he had a lot of rosaries, and so he would come to me in my dreams a lot, as I was beginning my awakening, and he would stress to me that, like, you have to connect with God. You have to connect with God. You have to open your heart to the spirit realm. And he told me, he said, your dad took one of my rosaries and he put it in a box in the garage. I want you to ask for it. I want you to go and tell your dad that I came to you in the dream and that he has to give you this rosary. And I didn't think my dad would do that, because my dad went to a different faith, and my dad doesn't believe in rosaries, and my dad doesn't have a sentimental attachment to that kind of thing. And as far as I knew, my aunt had taken all that stuff. But sure enough, I asked my dad. I didn't tell him where it was in the dream. I just said, I had a dream, and Grandpa says you have one of his rosaries, and in the dream he said you had to give it to me. And he said, yeah, I have it. It's in a box in the garage. And so he went and he gave me the rosary, and I put it up on my wall. And so for some of you, the reason why I'm telling you this is not to talk about myself, but I feel that for some of you, you may have like an ancestor or a grandfather or someone from your father's side of the family, who's coming in, and either telling you in a dream or coming in from the spirit realm and influencing events or influencing things to happen, to their making sure that you receive something of theirs, right? They might be putting the idea in somebody's mind or in somebody's heart to say, oh, you know what, Pisces, Grandpa Joe, Grandpa Jim wants you to have his old fishing box, or he wants you, or this is Grandpa Joe's toolkit, and he wants you to have it, or this is his I don't know, his paintbrushes or whatever, right? Maybe he had a hobby or something he did, or a talent. Maybe it's a tool or an instrument of some kind, and so somebody might have possession of that and just kind of not even realizing that they're being guided to give it to you. They may be saying, hey, you know what, Pisces, I was thinking about you, and I want to give you, Uncle Joey's or Grandpa Jim's, this or that. So there could be something making its way to you, because there's something about the energy in it, or the energy in it that, like, this person, this relative wants you to have. The rosary, I don't know the rosary. Maybe I need to learn the rosary. But I always have that rosary nearby, and I have it by my meditation chair. And so it's something I incorporate in my spiritual practice in my way. So it could be something that's bringing energy in or inspiring you or influencing you in creating structure or foundation or order in your life. Okay? The next card that's coming up here for our lovely Pisces friends is the Page of Swords. Now, the Page of Swords can be a youthful or playful air sign person. You might be dealing with an air sign person. But this thing is that because it's the Page of Swords, it can be immaturity more than playfulness, because the Page of Swords can sometimes have a bit of a bite. Okay? So sometimes the Page of Swords comes up to ask us to be cautious of the way that we're wording things. Maybe some of you are being put in a position of power. Maybe you're being given an assignment where you're overseeing a project, or you're in charge of something, or you're in charge of people. And the Page of Swords might be reminding you to be cautious of how you're wording things, or how you're delivering these orders or these ideas. The Page of Swords can also come up when we're gathering information. There could be some kind of like a physical reconnaissance. So maybe you're thinking of opening up a shop somewhere, or maybe you're thinking of moving someplace and you're kind of torn between different places. The Page of Swords says go out and look. Go out and physically look. And gather information. This is going to help you make your decision. Now, the Page of Swords also sometimes comes up for me in readings when there's things you're trying to manifest again, and Spirit says just go out and start looking. And I can't tell you how many times in my life doors have miraculously opened up when I've followed that guidance. Like, say you're wanting to move, but you don't think you're going to find a place in your budget, or you don't think you're going to find a safe place in your budget, or you don't think that they're going to rent to you because of something in your history or your credit score, or you don't have a credit history, or you're self-employed, or something that you feel like they're not going to like it, or whatever. And Spirit saying just go and look at apartments, or just go and look at places, and lo and behold, somebody's heart is softened, or they just really like something about you, and the perfect thing ends up happening. The perfect door ends up opening. So the Page of Swords can come up to say, hey, you go and you test drive some cars. Hey, you go and you look at some places. Or hey, you go and you check out a few groups or whatever. And before you know it, the thing that you're trying to manifest ends up happening. Another way that the Page of Swords comes up is you might find yourself in situations where you're being pushed to speak up. Especially Pisces, if you're a Pisces that feels really frustrated, like, I don't know why people act like I don't have feelings, or I don't know why people act like, I'm not going to be hurt by something, or I'm not going to be offended, or they just come in with everything that they want, but they're never like, hey Pisces, how are you today? Hey Pisces, what would you like to do? It's just kind of like they just like kind of come in like it's all about them. And you might feel like there's this kind of pattern in your life with people. The Page of Swords says you're going to find yourself in situations where you're being pushed to speak up in those little moments. Because every time you do, you're making a new agreement, and you're making a statement to the universe that your thoughts, your ideas, your desires matter. And even if it's as simple as, you know what, no, I don't want to have Italian food tonight for dinner. I'd rather stay in and, make some soup, or I want to go get Chinese, or you know what, I don't like this song that's playing on the radio right now. Can you please maybe change the song on the radio? Speak up in those little things, because that's like a little easy, simple way to start shifting the energy, and just like being present and being in the moment that, we're going to do what I want to do, or we're going to take my feelings or my desires into consideration, right? And so even in those little moments, you might be pushed to speak up before things get out of hand and become a big ordeal. I also feel, Pisces, I hate to say this, but I feel like some of you are used to having situations with people where like you try to be cool, you try to keep the peace, but you end up getting yelled at. You end up getting yelled at, or you end up having people like dump their anger on you. And the reason why is they think you're changing and they don't understand what's happening. You let a lot of things slide. You let a lot of things slide because you say at the end of the day, maybe it's not that big of a deal. Let me pick my battles. I'll just let this go. I'll just let this go. And so this person gets used to, or these people or these friends get used to everything being about them. And then the moment that you just have enough and you're like, I'm so annoyed right now. I am tired of this nonsense. This has been going on for too long. And you speak up, they don't understand that. Like in their mind, everything is cool, and you're making a big deal for no reason all of a sudden. You're just deciding to be difficult, or you're just coming in and you're just being mean, or you're picking on them. And all of a sudden, you're the one who changed, because up until now, this is how it is, right? This is what I do. This is how I behave. You deal with it. And now all of a sudden, you're telling me you have a problem with it. Like they think that you're changing or you're playing games. And so the way that you could avoid that is, instead of letting things slide, even though they might be little, speak up and say, no, I don't like that, or I don't want that, or, I want to do this, or I want to do that. Don't be afraid to speak up. One more thing about the Page of Swords. You might have to be cautious what you're sharing online. Okay? Some of you might have frenemies, or people competing with you, or exes who just don't have a life of their own, and they might be taking on fake profiles, and they might be trying to slide into your DMs to waste your time, or distract you, or catfish you, or get information out of you. So be very cautious what you're sharing with people who you've never met in person. Okay? Even if you're FaceTiming these people, because I hate to say it, you could be in a situation where you're really talking to somebody you know, but then you're like, oh, that's FaceTime, and they might have a friend help them out. They might have a friend come on the FaceTime. So if this isn't someone you're spending time with in person, if this isn't somebody that you've met in person, be super careful what you're sharing and what you're divulging. If you are a creative person, be super careful and super cautious what you're sharing online. I know there's a lot of groups right now on the internet where you can go and you can get people to give you their opinion, right? Like, hey, what do you think of my artwork? What do you think of my poetry? What do you think of my music? And people can rate it and, give you thumbs up or thumbs down or whatever, and you might feel it's a good way to get feedback. Meanwhile, there are people that are stealing material. So be cautious with what you share online. You might have to be cautious what you're putting on the internet when we see the Page of Swords. Also, maybe be careful or be cautious, like if you're tagging people or checking in at places. If you do have people who create conflict, or like a toxic ex or something, maybe you don't want them to know where you are in real time. Maybe you want to post that video of you and your friends, or you and your new girlfriend, or you and your new boyfriend, where you were, what you were doing. Maybe you want to post that stuff after you've already left the location. That can be a message sometimes with the Page of Swords as well. Now, your next card, Pisces, is the Five of Swords. And the Five of Swords can be the burning of bridges. So as I said, a lot of you maybe have been letting things slide for a long time, but you're getting to the point where you're like, this is ridiculous already. This is too much, and I just can't do this anymore. This is like, I'm done, I'm out. And some of you might be leaving an organization or a group. Um, uh, a lot of you might be feeling like you're in a situation where people are controlling you, or they're overstepping their boundaries. Those of you leaving an organization or a group, it makes me think of like when I left the church I grew up in, because the preacher got up there and said that we have to stop interpreting scripture, and that they're going to tell us what the scripture means, and that if we're true Christians, we're not, it was, as true Christians, you want to avoid independent thinking. And I'm like, well, why would God give you a mind if you're not allowed to think? Like, that to me was the breaking point. I was like, they're going to pass out the Kool-Aid any second now. Like, This is crazy, right? So some of you might be in this like situation where you might feel like you're being taught something that's very controlling, or you're being taught something that doesn't make sense, and you might be wanting to break out of that. Maybe it's a political thing, maybe it's a religious thing, maybe it's a philosophical thing, maybe it's a work culture or company that you belong to, and you're like, this just feels icky to me. Now, the Five of Swords, in terms of the burning of bridges, unfortunately, the Five of Swords can come up for me a lot of the times in a situation when you're dealing with someone who knows exactly how to get under your skin. They know what your insecurities are. They know what like you feel bad about, and they try to push these buttons to steer you in the direction they want you to go, right? So maybe I'll just give an example. Maybe you grew up being made to feel like you're too sensitive, or that you're a bossy person, and this person's being way inappropriate with you, and you try to set boundaries with them, and they're like, oh, okay, Pisces wants to set boundaries, right? Well, I'm going to turn this around on Pisces, and I'm going to be like, Pisces, I can't believe how selfish you're being. I can't believe you're not thinking about what this is like for me. I can't believe you're not thinking about what I'm going through. I can't believe that you're being so bossy, and they're just like coming in and they're pushing all of those buttons. And then all of a sudden, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be bossy, or I don't want to be selfish. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. Maybe I'm overreacting, right? And then they try to get us to backpedal, or they try to steer us in the direction they want us to go, or they say things that humiliate us or make us feel bad, or make us feel like we're this terrible person. They know exactly how to trigger you. So when you find yourself in situations in the next few weeks where you're being triggered, if you can, if it's possible, before you respond, before you react, take a step aside, disconnect from the situation, disconnect from the person if you can, and write about what happened. What happened? Who was involved? What did they say? What did they do? How did it make you feel? And then try to think as far back as you can remember. When is the first time in your life that you felt that way? Who was involved at that time? Who made you feel that way at that time? And then ask yourself and write it out. Why do you think this person did this? Why do you think they behave this way, or these people? Why do you think they behave this way towards you? What do you think they got out of it? Why do you think they did it? Write out a forgiveness and release to these people. Write out a release and forgiveness to yourself. Anything you're blaming yourself about, or feeling embarrassed about, or regretting, write out a forgiveness and release to yourself. And then write out how you're choosing to feel about the situation and about yourself from now on moving forward. If you can take the time to do this assignment, you're going to be much better off, and you're not going to have those triggers anymore. They're going to be deactivated. So no matter how many times these people, this person or somebody new that comes along your way, they can try to push that button as much as they can, they're not going to have any power over you, because the trigger no longer exists, because you've cleared it out. So some of you may be burning bridges or stepping away from a personal organization, but this is also a chance for you to have real permanent healing, and to walk away in a way where you still have control of yourself. Especially if you're a Pisces, where you're like, well, sometimes things end, but they end in a way where I regret it later. Like, I'm embarrassed that I went off, or I'm embarrassed that I lost my cool, or I'm embarrassed that they saw me cry. Or you're like, you're glad the situation ended, but you just wish that maybe you were more in control of your emotions. This is that mic drop moment. This is that mic drop moment where you can just boom, have that boundary, be in control of yourself, be logical, walk away from a situation without hysterical emotion or drama or things exploding. And so you walk away without baggage. You walk away free and clear from that moment, without having to process it later, without having to work through it later, because you're done with it. You're free and clear of it. Okay, you may want to check out your moon sign, your rising sign. Some weeks those might resonate more than your sun sign. You may need a private reading, which I'm more than happy to do for you. If you click on the link in the description of the video, it will take you to calendly.com/amethystangelite, and you can schedule a private reading with me there. If you want to check out the love readings for May, those are also linked in the description. And don't forget to check out the card of the day that I've been posting every single day. I thank you all for watching, liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead, and I'll see you all on the dailies. Take care, Pisces.